As mentioned, native survival. Recently we had a storm come through and drop a few feet of snow. So today we're going to talk about building a Quinzee. Don't go away. Okay, so I'm going to build it in this area right here. And this cluster of trees. It's going to give me some good protection against the wind whipping through and more snow coming down from top. So first thing I have to do is tamp down my floor plan. Basically is all I have to do, my footprint. So I'm going to get going on that and I'll get back to you. Okay, so it's tamped all down, and now from this point all you got to do is throw the snow from all around into a big pile, big mound to start your structure. And you can do this with your hands, your feet, a flat rock, or split wood. There's obviously many things you can use to pick snow up. I'm going to go ahead and use my World War II shovel right there. Okay, so this is where I'm at after a half hour shoveling with my little e-tool. And that's very important to keep track of how long it takes for you to build a shelter, because you have to get it done in 3 hours. Because of the rule of threes, you have 3 hours before exposure becomes a problem for your life, for the most part. So whenever I'm building a shelter, I'm always gauging and making sure that I'm not going to have any issues if the need arises for me to build it in case of emergency. Alright, so keep that in mind when you're working on your shelters. Now that's your survival shelters. Alright, survival shelters, not your long-term shelters. I'm not going to build a cabin in 3 hours, obviously. Can I bust out a lean-to? Yeah, sure I can. Can I bust out a Quinzee? Sure I can. You also have to make sure that you understand the tools you use to do it. Because if I'm using a chainsaw, I can bust through some trees pretty quick. But if I'm just using my hands in an emergency situation, building a lean-to might not take me an hour and a half, 2 hours like it does with my axe. So if I just have my pocket saw or even just my knife and I have to baton through everything, it might take longer. So if I can build that in say an hour, hour and a half, I know even if it takes me 2 times longer to complete all my tasks, I can still get it done in 3 hours and it's still a viable survival shelter. It's very important. So if it takes you 6, 8, 12 hours to build a debris hut, you need to work on how to build it faster. You need to learn how to cut corners and become more efficient and still get the job done. High quality shelter in a low amount of time. Okay, well that can easily sustain me for a few days, no issues. So now what I'm going to do is mark out my section for my door, and I want it facing where the sun is going to be. Okay, so it rises in the east, sets in the west. So I'm going to want it facing that direction, and I really want to get sun around 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So it won't be exactly east, it won't be directly in the middle, it'll be just shy, just off to the left. Alright, well I'm going to mark it out, get started, and we'll get back to you. Okay, so I made my selection. My door is going to be right in here. So now what I'm going to do is let this set and let it recrystallize, and I'm going to go collect evergreen boughs in this area. Seems like that's going to be pine, so I can make a bedding and a whole floor, like a carpet, I'm going to put inside. Okay, so I've started my door, and I've started by going down about 6 inches till I reach the forest floor. So that way the cold will sink down before I start digging up, and I'll have a little cold sink right here, so I don't have wind whipping right into me. I'll be a little elevated. And now the next step, before I really get in here and do my cavity, is taking sticks and measuring out roughly about a foot. You want to hold that far, and then you want to stick them in. And what that's going to do is make sure that I have a uniform thickness throughout the whole thing. That's very important. So I'll say about there. Now when I know when I'm digging, if I reach a stick, I need to stop. So I'm going to go around, put sticks in the whole thing, and start hollowing it out. Okay, so now I've hollowed out the inside, and I'm going to put a pile of pine boughs in there, and I'll show you guys what that looks like right now. This is what it looks like on the inside. And again, this is a natural shelter, so every morning I'd wake up and add more pine boughs to my bed until it stopped compressing. So it's about 6 to 8 inches minimum, so I can get up off of the cold ground. Alright, I'm going to show you guys inside. Hang tight. Alright, so now I'm on the inside, and you want to make sure that you make it small enough so your body can heat the shelter. So you want to think of it as like a snow debris hut, because obviously I'm not going to use fire with the shelter. I'm getting out of the wind, and I'm going to warm it up with my own body's insulation. And again, I need to keep adding this pine boughs to the bottom to try to increase the insulative properties of them, because they're going to compress the more I sleep in this. So like I said, every day you just keep adding more, and the more comfortable your shelter will be. Okay, now so as an ultimate goal, what you want is you want to create a cocoon where you fill, you have your compacted 8 to 10 inches on the bottom, right? That's your floor. But you want to fill this whole cavity inside with pine boughs. So you have to actually move them aside, and solid like a wall, move them aside just to crawl in. Then you pull them over yourself and in front of the door. So what happens is that you have like a nest inside there. Absolute thick nest, packed. So it's hard to crawl into your shelter, and that's what you want. You want it to be so dense in there and so strong that the wind can't reach you. So you almost build like a pine debris hut, blanket almost, really, inside, where it's like a cocoon. Alright, so that's the ultimate goal. As you keep adding, you go all the way up to the ceiling, and then you have to work your way in, and you pull it all over yourself and cover your door. Now obviously there's still going to be some airflow, and that's important, so you don't have any problems with carbon monoxide, anything like that, building up lack of oxygen. Having all of that all over you in one solid cocoon, it will keep you warm. That's critically important. Alright, well, it's been Mitch from Native Survival. I appreciate your views, comments, and support, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.